Good evening, everybody. Well, thanks for coming tonight to our first of 3 public budget forums. The first one being held here at Harpswell. My name is Ryan Larson. I'm the chair of the Finance Committee. I'm a Harpswell representative to the board. And so I think we'll start with just quick introductions of the board members or the committee members that are up here at the table, and then of the Heidi and Evan. So maybe Amy.
Amy Spelke, I'm the chair of the board, and I'm from Thompson.
Holly Kavna, board chair and board member, and I'm in Topsom.
Jessica Damon, board member, Bowdoin.
Hi, I'm Evan Howard. I'm the business manager for the district.
Heidi O'Brien, superintendent.
All right, thank you guys. And we appreciate everybody being here tonight. Kind of the plan and what we look to kind of go through this evening is going to be Heidi will walk us through her budget. The maintenance of effort, which is what we currently have in our budget for 2025 and what that looks like going forward into 2026. There'll be new proposals, how those are integrated, and then how everything rolls up and what the impacts to the town are. And then after that, we'll have kind of, and throughout really, I think it's okay if you have a question as the presentation's going. I think we have a small enough group here tonight that we can stop and answer a question in the moment if it's specific to what's being talked about. And then if there are more general questions or other things you'd like to talk about, we'll have question and answer and kind of public comment at the end. So with that, I think we'll have at it.
Well, thank you everybody for being here. It's nice to have a little crowd. So I want to first start, this is my superintendent's budget with very much help with my business manager, making sure that all of my numbers are correct. But really this budget reflects a commitment to fiscal responsibility while ensuring that we meet the needs of all of our students, our staff, and our community. So Ryan, you're on. Whoops,
Yeah.
sorry. There we go.
Yep. Yep, and so we just wanted to walk through kind of as a committee, we developed a goal this year. We did one last year, and we felt like it was a really good kind of North Star for us throughout this process, something to come back and help ground us as this work can be difficult and challenging at times and help us focus our priorities on what we're trying to accomplish. So for this year, our goal for the committee was to conduct a process that creates increased and earlier public awareness in developing a sustainable budget supporting the MSAD number 75 mission, and to provide for the needs of our district with minimal impact to the local contribution. Understanding that what that really says is we want to be thinking long-term in some of the decisions and things that we're incorporating into our budget and what those impacts look like over the next year to 5 years, and begin to just think a little longer term, bigger picture in some of our planning that we do. And then ensure that we're meeting the needs of the district, but the students specifically, and incorporating, ensuring we deliver upon those needs as part of this. So, while being fiscally responsible every bit that we can be, especially to the local contribution. You'll hear a little bit about how the funding's built and where it comes from, and they'll help put a little bit more, shed a little more light on the local contribution piece of that this evening.
Thank you. So we have a district mission, the 4 communities of MSAD 75 are united in our dedication to develop confident, fluent learners, critical thinkers, and creative contributors to our society. And if anybody's been part of the strategic planning, we've been working on a new mission statement, which will be unveiled sometime in April. I'm not sure exactly the date, but it's very similar, but it adds some more to it, more updated information. So we worked really hard to make sure that our budget planning was essential to maintaining high quality education. We prioritized our curriculum development and instructional materials, staff training, and student support services while really maintaining our financial sustainability. Our administrative team, I usually have them start right in July, starting to look and think about the things that they would like to add to the budget or take away, and we have lots of conversations. They worked really hard to look at their budgets and have carefully assessed the needs and the constraints, really to make thoughtful recommendations to the budget. It's really important to talk about teachers and students and the connection that they have. On last Saturday night, I was able to go to the gala event for the main teacher of the year, and several of those teachers that are on that screen, Allison Gilbert, who is with the black dress on, she was named this year's teacher of Maine Saginaw County Teacher of the Year. To her right was Rob Messier, he was last year's. Yeah, Josh Enos, he's a high school teacher. His wife is nominated, and then Suzanne Braun, she nominated Allison. So it was a really wonderful evening, but there was lots of conversation about talented people, gifted, modest champions of education. They are passionate and they're inspiring. It was really important to see that because without teachers, they are at the heart of student success, and it's really important to remember that. I remain committed to supporting them by ensuring adequate staffing, professional development, and resources that align with our district's goals. Can't talk about a budget without talking about enrollment and understanding enrollment and our students' trends. Our student enrollment trends helps us really to plan for the future. And we continue to monitor enrollment shifts each day, almost every day. We're asking for those numbers. And we do this to ensure that we have proper allocations and student support as we move forward. There's been a significant trend over an educational landscape over the last few years, especially since COVID. And as you can see, across the country, there's been decline all the way since 2012. Where you can see the numbers that, we had a 3% decline to 49.4 million students in the fall of 2020, with an enrollment that fell in the fall of 2021, 49.6. It went up a little bit again, but it continues to decrease again and again. The state of Maine enrollment, if you take a look at that, it's really important to understand that you can see the numbers from 2016, where we had 182,000 students in the state of Maine, and we dropped down to this year at 171,000, and that is projected. As you can see the trend line, it continues to go down. And our district budget, our district enrollment follows the same pattern. You can see back in 2016, we were at 2415. We jumped way up in 2020. I wasn't quite sure why that happened. It's dig a little deeper, but we're back down. And these numbers come from our October 1st child count at 2309. And they follow the same type of trend line that the state is. Our current numbers in enrollment in March, as of March 7th, is 2285. So we've actually gone down even more since October 1st. 2285 from 2309. And there's a different way to look at it if you need to. You can see what the enrollment of each of the schools is there. So when we talk about enrollment, I wanted to give you the snapshot of all the schools, so you can see that. But also in this district, class size is critical. It's a critical factor in student success, and we do monitor. We have a packet that some of you may have is the historical data of each of the schools, what the class size enrollments were for the last 5 years. Is there?
We have some up here, if somebody would like.
Use the.
Up here. So philosophically, this district does believe, and as you can see by the optimal class sizes over on the left side on the elementary sizes, we like to keep our numbers relatively low. And so we are watching that daily and looking at numbers, and we project out what we could do and how many teachers we might possibly need for each of those classes based on the numbers. We do have students that are continuing to move in places such as in Topsom. We have a new housing development there. And it's about 38 homes. We have a housing project out in Bodenham. So we're watching that carefully to see how many students, and I've connected with both the town office in Bodenham and the town office in Hartsville. Not Hartsville, I'm sorry, Topsom, to see whether or not we have any enrollments, what they know of them yet, what they know the numbers are now. Additionally, Hartsville, I've reached out to them because we have some questions about our kindergarten classes and how many kids are actually coming in. Right now, we're projected at 16. We only have 7 students enrolled at this time. That's 7 as of today. But we obviously will project more, and hopefully the town office will help send out some information to get people to register so that we can have an idea before this budget goes of how many kids are actually going to be enrolling.
But enrollment was just last week, so it's only been right? It's only been a week.
Yeah, so we've only just released it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
There's
So we're
17 already, or just 1
7.
week? Oh,
7,
okay.
yeah, only 7. So
Heidi, is the maximum and minimum set by our district?
It's a
or-
policy, and we say that if these are optimal sizes, we can go above or we can go below. It doesn't mean that we have to stick. You want to talk
I
about
say
that?
we just, I'm the chair of the policy committee and we just reviewed this policy. And so we listed as the maximum average class size. So individual classrooms can deviate above or below. Typically it's flagged to Heidi and it's flagged to us, just like you see here, where we're like, oh, here's one that's below, here's one that's above, so we're aware of it. And sometimes that means bringing in a secondary, like a paraprofessional to help reduce the load in the classroom or something along those lines. But the policy is written around averages, so there's some room for, you know, one slightly large class doesn't mean you have to necessarily hire a teacher right off the bat.
Good. Thank you, Harrison. Okay, let me see where I am. Okay, so we really need to be proactive in adapting enrollment, but also just looking at our class sizes. It's a critical, as I said before, it's a critical factor in student success. And then again, we are monitoring our numbers so that we can keep saying, do we need to add somebody? Do we need to take somebody away? And really kind of playing that. It's a little bit like a chess game on some days. Even though I said I'm not that good at chess. All right, this year we've had some administrative personnel requests, and all of these went into the budget. This is where we started with the request of all of these. With the addition of 2 pre-K programs, one in Hartswell, and then one at Woodside Elementary School. We've done that, and then administrators have done this to address student needs, but we are proposing several key personnel additions. Including social workers, teachers, behavioral specialists, and then these positions will support academic success, social emotional learning, and special education services. We then also had some non-personnel requests, and the only 2 requests that we had this year were the software to the bus ride program, which would change from Transversa, which is what we currently use for our software system, but we're hoping to get bus ride because it's a nice program. This is just one feature. There's more features that it does. But it also tells parents through an app where the bus is actually, so that you can either see how much time you have. So we're hoping to get that. And then yonder pouches, in case you don't know what that is, those are pouches for cell phones. We've had a big initiative in the district this year. And Dr. Hoffman has done a study and worked with a group of people at task force to see about not having cell phones during the day at school. And those pouches would secure the cell phones. And students would pick them up at the end of the day.
Would unlock them.
Yeah,
Would unlock them.
they actually keep them, they keep them with them the whole time.
Okay.
They're locked by a magnetic, you enter the building, the staff sees the phone go in, taps against the magnetic lock. So the kiddos have the cell phones with them the whole day. And then on their way out the building, they tap it again and it's unlocked, so.
And that price, I believe, also includes
Middle school.
the middle school as well, right?
Yes, that number does include the middle school. It would be about $20,000 for the middle school and $30,000 for Mount Airy High School for a total of $50,000.
They're about $30 a piece, and if the kids destroy them, they'll be responsible for the cost of replacement, just like computers.
You guys are on the task force, right?
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah, sorry, I've been on that task force.
I should have deferred to you. Right?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. And so right now, Evan is going to go over our budget summary and talk about numbers.
Thank you, Heidi. So where we are right now with the superintendent's budget, which is the column highlighted in green, we are at $57,510,000, which represents a 4.85% increase. When we started putting together the budget back in October, we were with a maintenance of effort, meaning just maintaining the services that we had outlined from last year in the budget process. We were at $57,739,000. We were able to get that number down because of retirements to teachers. We've had a number of long tenured staff give us their retirement notices, so congratulations to them. We still have about 3 weeks for other staff members to give their retirement, so this number here reflected in the superintendent's budget could continue to go down as we wait for notices from other teachers and staff members about changes to their situations. But you know, there is an overall 4.85% increase to the budget that we are proposing for fiscal year 2026. And some of those cost drivers that are driving that 4.85% would be health insurance premiums. We're looking at an 8% health insurance premium for all the district staff that elects to use the health insurance. In addition to health insurance, we are seeing property and general liability insurance go up significantly. Our insurance broker recommended that we use an 18% increase when doing our budgeting for this coming year. And that's just due to the fact that we've had costly events throughout the United States where, natural disasters that are driving the cost of property insurance up significantly. We did a lot of work back in 2021 to shop around for the best insurance rates, and I still believe that the insurance provider that we have is the one that we should be using going forward. 18%, I hope, is a conservative number, and I hope that number comes down come May, but just to be conservative, we did use an 18% figure there. In addition, just the overall costs of goods and services are continuing to go up. So some of the software that we use, we're looking at 5 to 10% cost increases. And then also, there are new teacher and support staff contracts that did provide 4% and 7% raises for support and teachers alike. The teacher contract has not been ratified yet, but that is where we are heading there.
Can I jump in, just provide one piece of clarity on that too? Because you spoke about the cost savings with the teacher retirements and things.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong or misspeak here, but just so everybody's aware, those savings come from the costs associated with a tenured teacher that's maybe been in the district for 30 years versus somebody that's newer and, is their first 5 years or so of teaching. So the intent is to continue to offer the same similar staffing levels, similar class offering and everything, but there's a cost savings with younger teachers than with more tenured or senior teachers. And so just want to make sure that nobody heard that and was thinking there may be a reduction.
Yeah.
Driving that. We will be replacing those just with the lower cost option. Younger.
Those staff that may have been.
Maybe, and it depends on what we get and everything, our applications and hires, but
Thanks for that
we can
clarification.
assume that in the budget.
Awesome.
Next
Next
page.
slide, yes, please. For those who like a graphic, this is where the 12 different warrants make up the total budget. So of that $57,510,000, this is the percentage of each of those categories. So regular instruction is about 32%, special education 19%, and you can reference this pie chart to determine how much each warrant will impact the budget. For those that are at the visual. Heidi and I have worked pretty hard over the last couple of weeks to figure out some suggested reductions to the overall budget. And this first column, or this first group of reductions, which is everything above this green line, total eliminations. These are positions that have been unfilled for over 1 year that we are proposing to eliminate from our budget. Our staff has done a great job of maintaining high quality education for our students without these positions being filled. So we are advocating that we are not going to post those for next year and reduce that impact on the local taxpayers. And then the second group, which is everything in between the green and the yellow lines, these are the administrator requests that the administrators had requested during this budget process. So one of them is an English teacher at Mount Ararat. We are looking for either a kindergarten or a pre-K teacher based on need here. This is something that we'll determine with the enrollment figures that come through. A BCBA at Mount Ararat, and then one of the requests from the administrators was universal subs throughout the district. A total of 9 of them. We are proposing not to utilize not to hire for universal subs because we would have to pay them salary and benefits just like they would be full-time employees. We've been doing a lot of work to bring on new subs a lot in the last 2 months, and we believe that the changes we're making internally can help fit that need. Yes. This graph right here is a historical view of the state of Maine's aid to the district. You can see that from 2018 to where we are now, we have received more state aid over the tenure of this graph. We are receiving approximately $200,000 more than we received in 2024, 2025, which equates to just 0.97% increase over last year. So if we're looking at our budget increase of 4.85% and an increase from the state of just under 1%, we are going to be facing a shortfall that we will need to make up with the help of the local town. This next page here, this is a graphic of how we determine the local cost sharing formula. It is something that was put together upon the foundation of the district, and this is something that gets changed every year to reflect the new numbers that are released. So a couple notes here on this is that the above data that is listed is provided through the state of Maine and their Department of Education. The local cost sharing formula is based on 50% of the state valuation of property per town and 50% on student enrollments. So if you take those two numbers and you average them together, that is how the district has figured out how much each town is responsible for in the taxes. But I will also say that each year, when the state of Maine releases their ED 279, which is the form we use to determine this information, we do update these figures every year to reflect the most accurate property values and student enrollments. So for a town like Topsom, higher enrollment and high property values, they are going to be seeing the largest percent of the pie that needs to be funded by the towns. Just an example. So if we're looking at the detail on the towns and how we are going to fund this $57 million budget, we also have to consider the Mary Meeting Adult Education, which is a program that costs the district $175,000. So if we add those two together and then subtract out the state subsidy of 21 million, we're projecting to use 2.5 million from our fund balance to reduce the impact on the taxpayers. And then also I'm expecting that we will receive about $50,000 in other revenue. And that other revenue can be things like building use fees. It can be gate receipts from sporting events. It could be donations or grants from local taxpayers. But the amount that we need to fund locally for this next fiscal cycle is $34 million. That represents a 7.8% district-wide increase over last year.
Yeah. So I just want to, I know it talks a lot about pre-K and we're really hoping that we can make that happen. We do have quite a bit of interest as a, we had 39 students registered for pre-K. We do have 2 pre-K classrooms already in the district. And as I said, through the budget, we're hoping to open 2 more, but really expanding pre-K is an investment in our district's future. It helps with enrollment. It strengthens early learning and provides for long-term student outcomes and increases retention in schools. Additionally, pre-K benefits, a district-funded pre-K program fosters that early connection that we're really hoping to see with families. It provides a strong academic foundation, but it also enhances the community engagement and strengthens enrollment stability. Such an important piece right there. Not only benefits students academically, but there's an economic input. The economic implications, it supports working parents, increases household earnings, and strengthens the local economy. A return on pre-K, on investment for pre-K, it shows through research that every dollar invested in pre-K yields a significant return, resulting in reduced special education costs, lowering grade repetitions, and increasing overall student success. In my packet, I provide references to that, and I just want to say thank you all for all of you for your time and support, and that we appreciate our community engagement and in this budget process, and that your feedback obviously has been valuable. And that's it for tonight.
Thanks, Heidi. Thanks, Evan. So we will, with that, open it up kind of to questions, comments, anything anybody would like to share specific to this, the budget or anything else that you're here for.
Is this the time to make comments about the kindergarten class?
Yeah.
So I am Carrie Bouvier. I'm a lifelong resident of Parksville. And I went to the West Hampton School for 8 years, and then I went right on to Mount Ararat when they opened, and I graduated in '77. Went on to University of Machias, got a bachelor's degree in early childhood education, and taught kindergarten for 4 years of my teaching career. So I'm here tonight to talk about the kindergarten class here. And I was curious about other schools and what their kindergarten enrollment does. So I've had some time today to do some research. So I talked to the superintendent's office this morning, and these are the figures that I got for the rest of the schools in our district regarding kindergarten classes. So at the Woodside School, there are 3 classes, and each of them have 14 students. Williams Cone has 2 classes. One has 14 students and 15 students. Bodenham has 2 classes. Each of those has 17 students. Bowden has 2 classes, one with 14 students and one with 15. And the Harpswell School has 1 class and 22 students. I have a relative who is the principal of the Winthrop Grade School. I've been in touch with her today. They have 4 classes of kindergarten there, and each of those classes average 13 students each. I decided to check our neighboring town of New Hampshire. I have a friend that lives in Concord, and she's a special ed teacher, and those 2 classes in her school, one has 15 students and 17. And I have a friend in Colebrook, New Hampshire, north. She has a kindergartner, and they have 2 kindergarten classes, one that has 12 and one that has 14. So as you can see, the numbers, the Harpswell Community School kindergarten class is over the top in numbers. I don't know the nitty-gritty details of the situations of that, but I do know that we should be able to do better than that for the teacher and for our students. From experience I've had, I do know that a teacher with this class size, no matter how much of an excellent teacher he or she is, they just can't keep track of every child and begin to meet their needs. We don't want anybody slipping through the cracks and having to play catch up. Yes, I must admit, I have a vested interest in this class. I have a grandchild attending kindergarten here. Myself being a kindergarten teacher for 4 years. And planning to live the rest of my life here and watch him come up through the grades with much success and being proud to have come from the Harpswell Community School. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also would like to kind of
Yeah.
piggyback. My son attends kindergarten today, and the numbers are just too large for him. Emotionally, it has an impact on him. And we did several years of pre-K to prepare him for a more structured environment. And it was hard to prepare him for the numbers that he entered into. He loves kindergarten, but it is hard some mornings to send him, so. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that.
Hi, I'm William. This is my wife Jessica. We have a son in kindergarten. So what we've drafted is, to whom it may concern, I would like the MSAD 75 school district to allocate funding for 1 additional classroom for next year's 1st grade students. Research shows that smaller class size significantly enhance student learning outcome. The studies indicating that classes over 15 or fewer students often result in higher test scores and improved social skills. Moreover, students in smaller classes are more likely to receive individualized attention, fostering a better learning environment. Given that our community pays a considerable tax contribution, it is imperative that these funds are used to create an educational atmosphere that truly benefits our children, promoting their growth and success in a supportive setting. We would like to express our heartfelt appreciation for Mrs. Palmwell, who is our kindergartner's teacher, who has done a wonderful job with our children this year. Our son absolutely loves her. However, we are concerned that increased class size may lead to teacher burnout and distract students, hindering their ability to learn effectively. It is crucial to prioritize the needs of our children and the well-being of our teachers, ensuring that every student receives the attention they deserve. We urge the school district to consider our community's needs and invest in smaller class sizes for more effective learning development. So we have some other letters from some of the other families.
And we also have contact, like, we made an email to all the classroom and pretty much everyone in the classroom. so that they could get a letter saying that they would like this approved too. But this is a really great one because she works in the Auburn district and she's been in 12 different budget meetings. She was gonna be here tonight, but she couldn't make it in time, so I printed off what she has.
So. It's from Allison Leather. Dear members of the MSAD 75 school board, I'm writing to you as a concerned parent of 2 students currently enrolled in kindergarten and second grade at Harpswell Community School. I'd like to respectfully bring to your attention the growing concern regarding the student to teacher ratio in the classroom. And I would like to advocate for the addition of another teacher for their current kindergarten, soon to be first grade class to support the students' academic needs. As you are aware, was discussed during the last budget planning session to add another teacher for this class due to enrollment. Kindergarten is such a vital time in a student's learning career. They should be enabled with all the learning tools required to become successful. Unfortunately, this was shot down, and the number of students within the class continues to grow, currently at 22 students. As someone who works in another school district with one of the largest elementary schools in the state, I see on a daily basis the need for smaller class sizes with an emphasis on for individualized learning. More and more students have an IEP of 504 or 504 plan, which is also required and more attention from their teacher. In my district, the average class size for kindergarten and first grade is 18 students, with each room having a dedicated educational technician. With the increased numbers of students, it has become evident that is unfair to the current teacher and is becoming more challenging for he or her to address the diverse learning needs of every student. My oldest son was fortunate to have a small kindergarten class of only 10 students due to the enrollment number of 20 students. Why, I ask, we not think the same is necessary for a class of 22 students? I'm the first to say that I'm so happy for my kids to attend HCS because of their wonderful staff and because of their overall small size. But I don't want to see any students slip through the cracks due to this class size. Research has shown that smaller class sizes contribute to improved academic performance, more personalized instruction, and a better overall learning environment. In my experience, the personalized attention provided by teachers in small settings makes a remarkable difference in student engagement, confidence, and academic progress. I've been part of the school budget conversation over the past 12 years and personally know the time, effort, and dedication that goes on to each and every decision that is made. I ask that you please make the right decision for our students and the future students of Harpswell Community School. I'd be more than happy to discuss this further and explore any opportunities to collaborate in making this a reality for our students. Thank you for your time and consideration and for those of all your efforts in providing a nurturing and effective learning environment at Harpswell Community School.
I just wanted to piggyback on that for a minute. So her son was one of the grades here that had 10 each. They had 2 classes like in 2021. You had 2 kindergarten classes in 2022, 23, 24, except for this. Our class is the first one that doesn't have 2 kindergarten classes. And so we're just wondering why that's happened. But there's also.
When it may concern, I write to express my encouragement to budget for and hire a second teacher at the Hartford Community School class of 2037. The current class size of over 20 is a diverse set of students that would benefit from more individualized instructions that a second teacher would bring up. Providing a smaller class to teacher ratio helps foster growth and motivation to learn. A second teacher for this class would be a less than 1% increase from the current teacher salary component of the budget and a minuscule increase of the overall budget. We are petitioning for 2 teachers for a large kindergarten class moving into first grade to ensure the best possible learning environment for our students. Smaller class sizes allow for more individualized attention, better classroom management, and improved academic outcomes. With a large group, one teacher may struggle to meet the diverse needs of all the students, especially in foundational subjects like reading and math. Having 2 teachers will support the differentiated instructions, promote stronger social emotional development, and set our children up for long-term success. Investing in additional staffing now will benefit from both students and educators, creating a more effective and enriching learning experience. Additionally, Harpswell contributes significantly in taxes to the school district, and our community expects those funds to be used in ways that directly benefits our students. Ensuring appropriate staffing for our youngest learners is a critical investment in the education and future success. Respectfully, a concerned Harpswell parent and community member.
And this is the head of our PTO too for the school, so she knows a lot about that sort of stuff. Another thing I wanted to state before I give another one, a parent, Brina Watson, wasn't able to give her letter to us yet, but she went to this school when she was younger, and it was K through 6th grade, not K through 5th. There was 2 classes per grade, in each one of them, and I said, where did they put them all? Cause it's pretty packed right now, and she explained where each class was and that they could take out this and put this person, this teacher here. So there was even another grade, a whole nother grade, and there was 2 classes for each grade. There's one more, but we can provide, one from pretty much all the parents have said that they would.
For Kelly Park, to whom it may concern, I'd first like to start by saying that Mrs. Parmelo, who is my son's kindergarten teacher at Harpswell Community School, is fantastic, supportive, and very responsive. I appreciate all the time and energy that she invests in ensuring a positive educational experience for all the kindergartners. I would also like to acknowledge and extend my gratitude to the assistant teachers who work in the kindergarten classroom on a daily basis as well. With that being said, I would like to advocate for smaller class sizes going forward. This kindergarten class has 23 students in it, which I realize falls within the guidelines for the recommended student to teacher ratios for elementary age students. The benefit of a smaller class size, however, are clear. Class size reduction has been proposed as an improvement for optimizing the learning environment in the classroom and promoting social and emotional learning. That was in Eastern West 2011, 2019, Smith class 1980, as cited. Sorry, I can't pronounce this, in 2023. Small class sizes have been shown to promote a positive classroom and emotional climate, with teachers reporting better relationships with students in small classes and increased opportunities for individualized attention. In addition to increase in cognitive outcome, smaller class sizes have also been attributed to non-cognitive outcomes, with an emphasis on interpersonal skill. My understanding is that consensus among parents is that they too would advocate for small class sizes going forward. Thank you for taking this into consideration as you plan for the upcoming academic year. Sincerely, Kelly Park.
And then, so some other things that I wanted to add, so my son went to Harpswell Nature School, for 3 years actually. And so the classes were 12 or under, so he's used to being in a small class. He started young there, and yeah, I was there for 3 years. He came here, and then, so there's 22 kids in the class, and he states that it's very distracting, that there is someone that comes in that helps with instructional time, the Title I teacher, but I've even had the teacher at our last conference say that like he'll put his hand up, and she feels bad because like she can't get to, someone. There's also another teacher, Mrs. Wallace. If someone can't get to him, like there's this chart above in the back of the classroom that he'll figure it out like himself, but he does it his own way. So then like sometimes when papers come home, I'm like, were you paying attention, buddy? Like this isn't right. And so it's not something that the teacher isn't doing. It's just, there's not enough, like there's too many kids in there.
The work that comes home directly reflects that the student to teacher ratio is impacting. I can't speak for the whole class, but I know that it is impacting our son's learning.
I also have another friend in the classroom. She said that her daughter came home and was like, Mrs. Parmelo said that she won't help me again, but it was because she had too many kids she was helping. So she got really sad because she just gets sad easily. But her mom had to explain to her, no, she didn't mean that, honey. It was like just, there wasn't enough time for her to, keep helping you. And she was really upset about it. So she had to like explain that. Nothing that Mrs. Parmelo did at all, but and then also talking about for this coming kindergarten, myself and Becca Baumgarter have came up with a number that from
she owns the little schoolhouse. So her number and my number from the kids that are at Harpswell Nature School, we have a daughter that's coming into kindergarten this fall. We have 27 kids that we have came up with from her school and from our school so far, and that's not even including like siblings, like, well, yeah, it's including siblings, but it's not including like people that we don't know in the community. So we have that's 27 numbers of like people we know that have a sibling that's going into kindergarten. So that's what the number is so far. So that's just, I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be more than that because,
Could you ask them to register? So we can get it on their books?
Yes, I know.
That'd be so helpful.
And as for the pre-K, like I am all about pre-K and I think that kids should have that, but we've never done it in the past and we really need we need an extra teacher for our kindergarten class and our kindergarten class coming in and our first grade class. So I want us to be able to take care of the kids we have now. And I don't think it's the right time to start a pre-K when we don't have enough teachers for the kids that we're taking care of now. So I don't think that this program is something that would be beneficial for us just because we've never had it in the past and we need to take care of the kids that are in the school now, so.
Yeah, it's not directly addressing this current situation and problems. It's postponing coming up with a corrective action.
I also think like, so my son, he was born in 2018, but he went through all the COVID stuff, so he is a lot more sensitive, I feel like, than, I mean, he doesn't like have a problem or anything, but he's just a sensitive kid and his feelings get hurt easily and just the large classroom, like the distractions and just not being able to take care of any situation like sometimes like right as it's happening, I feel like it's just we really need to think about our kids and the students and give them the support that they need each day.
And I don't know, sorry.
I was gonna ask a clarifying budget question related to that. So the administrative personnel request was for 2 teachers here, 1 pre-K, 1 kindergarten. And then later, where it talks about suggested reductions, there was the total eliminations, but then below that, those 4 positions, are those also proposed to be eliminated? So it would just be 1 teacher hired
That's,
instead of 2?
yes, it would be proposed to do it either or, whatever the need is there.
Okay,
I'm not sure if it's something different, but.
so it'd be 1 total teacher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you all for sharing all that insight is we really appreciate hearing from you all on this, especially at this point in the process. The way the process will work from now is we have a couple more of these meetings that we have at different towns. We'll be in Bodenham and Thompson both next week. And then our official deliberation of the board begins on the 24th. I think it was maybe Monday, the 24th, and we have to deliberate for about a week or so to try to work through things. So this feedback will be something I'm sure that we bring to those discussions and talk about. So I'm grateful for you coming tonight and sharing with us the challenges you're experiencing and letting us know what you're seeing. So appreciate that.
Sorry, one question I had is for the non-personnel requests, the software, there's the bus rate, their stuff, 36,000. Does it currently solve any problems and was there ever an issue with having the parents track buses? I don't believe that when I was a kid, my mom needed to track where the bus was. It was you're here at this time, you see the buses here.
As I was a child growing up in Hartsville, that was definitely, you didn't have to worry about that, but parents often call, there are, concerns, and just parents not being home at times and trying to get there, so there's multiple things that happen, there's a wide range of situations. I agree with you, though.
Well, which I can understand, but is it?
Yeah.
I feel like that $46,000 could go towards something a lot more effective, rather than maybe a few dozen parents checking to see where the bus is. I don't see a direct impact of that going to solving issues. I think that, as parents, we need to be able to make time to be able to be there for our kids. Let's speak with our employer and just be adults, be responsible.
I will also say, Traversa costs us about $16,000 to run annually, so this $46,000, if you subtract the $16,000 off it, it's. The total cost to the district is gonna be $46,000, but if you. Subtract out that what we're already paying for our current software, it's only a $30,000 increase over the. And
That's only year one, right?
that's only year one, so this is like the implementation cost, like setting it up. One of the other reasons why we looked at this is because it does optimize. The routing, so we can in the long run, hopefully save some fuel. If we know that there are gonna be certain kids that aren't riding the bus that day, it will optimize the route a little bit more effectively than what we're currently doing.
Yeah.
So we think in the long run, it could help save the district, some money with fuel costs and wear and tear on buses. Small at first, but large in the long run.
Yeah, I can understand the return on the investment, but I mean, if the student to teacher ratio directly here at HCS is an issue, I feel like a project like that could be postponed for another fiscal year to be able to address the student to teacher. Is there a true issue right here, right now with the buses? And parents not being able to be on time? Or is it more of an impact with having proper student to teacher ratio for our students?
I would just jump in. I can't answer either of those really, but I think you've given us a lot to think about and talk about, and over the coming week to 10 days, we will have those conversations, I assure you. But I honestly can't answer that specifically tonight, but I want you to know you've been heard and completely hear what you're saying in the prioritization of the things and things like, I got you.
I love my kids to death. As a lifelong Parcel resident, I hope to stay in here and continue to be generational. Unfortunately, I'm not a lostman, like the rest of my family. I kind of didn't want to rely on Mother Nature, but I care about our community, and I'd love to see the number of children in the town grow. To try and get to be where it was when I was a kid, when we'd all get together and ride bikes. But I think to be able to do that, we need to address the focus on school providing an area for parents to be like, all right, Parcel, I'm willing to stay here. But if the students are having a hard time because the students aren't getting help that they need due to the level of staff, I could see some concern to where they might want to remove their child from school, do homeschooling, or go out of the district and go to another school for a better ratio.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Frank?
Ryan, I wondered if it wouldn't be helpful for you to have these letters to review.
Yeah, that would be great if you could either email them to us or something, or leave them, whatever is easiest for
How many
you.
days do you have? Did you say 10 days?
That's not exact.
Well, it's when our deliberations start.
That's when they begin, yeah. Yeah, that's when they begin, and I think the 24th, so you'll start in 10 days, and it's,
So,
I think the 10th of, is it maybe the 10th of April when the board votes to approve the budget, so that,
I believe that's.
the time of deliberation is closer to 20, or 2 weeks. And
so if I like had a date to have them, like have the parents have them back in by, what would that date, do you think?
oh, I'm sorry.
April 10th is the
Final
budget
date to
hearing.
get
So
some
you need
letters.
business by.
Sooner the
April 9th.
better, but
No,
we'll read
not
them
by
whenever.
April 9th though, because I want you guys to be able to
Yeah,
read them.
Call it Friday, the 21st.
Yeah, I was gonna say next Friday.
Sooner the better.
Well, I'll give you these for now and then, the others, and then who would I email them to?
You can email them to me, it'd be great if you want,
Ryan.
Brian Larson, yeah.
Actually, Arson R.
Larson R at Link 75, so it's LARSEN,
But his email's on the website. If you go to the board, you can find it there.
and we can connect at the end of it too. I hope.
Okay, thank you very much.
There's also one little girl that's homeschooled this year that could be in the kindergarten class, so the actual class size could be 23.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And she chooses to join in next year in first grade.
And usually you do get some sort of increase.
So I feel a little odd
Thank you.
sitting and not, you know, we've got a lot of people advocating and these parents didn't hear when I presented to the finance committee. So I just want, you to know that I absolutely, agree with your concerns. I taught first grade for 20 years. I know that 22 kids in a first grade is, you know, once you get beyond 18, it's not one more kid, it's exponentially harder, with each new student. So I didn't know about a homeschooled student, but I am meeting next week with a parent who did screen with us, whose child went to a private school this year, and they're thinking about having that student come back, so potentially 24. We have our sleuths who make our incoming pay list. Last year at this time, our incoming pay list showed us 22 students. And I had requested, and Heidi put it in her reserve budget for another kindergarten teacher, pending the numbers never went up. So we did the best we could in mitigating those numbers. I don't envy you, you know, our decisions that you have to make. In a small school, that's like, we're over the maximum, but we're over the minimum. Like, so what do you do about that? We don't have the luxury of spreading those students among various classes to balance the numbers. Our sleuthing for next year shows us 27 to 29 incoming students. And we were pretty accurate last year, so I expect we'll be pretty accurate this year too.
I just want to piggyback on what Heidi said and going back to the letters are be helpful, but if you could tell those people to register, if we have 27 in the system, we will absolutely have to deal with it.
Yeah, yes.
So the more you can get actually numbered, I mean,
I'll do it on my.
it's a lot
end.
easier.
Rebecca,
Yeah.
do it
I
on
mean,
her.
I know it's not all on you, but
Yeah.
first, like, it's much easier for us to act on
Yeah.
hard facts than
Yeah.
guesses.
And I would just add, I don't think anyone up here at this table, and certainly not Anita, would make a classroom of 27 kindergartners. Like, that would not happen.
Right.
Right, so like, if we see that enrollment number, there's definitely a second teacher.
Is there another ed tech in the district that could float down here to this kindergarten class for the rest of the year just to get?
I want to be, I
Should
think Anita can actually address this because we do have supports and we gave through the Title I programming, we actually added an additional teacher and a half, I believe, and then maybe we can, so I think that there is that already and that's in the building. So if you want to elaborate on that, Anita, you certainly could.
We do have a general education paraprofessional who historically has served K2 classrooms. Unfortunately, when we often don't have subs, she historically was also often the first pull to cover classrooms. So this year she is dedicated full-time in that kindergarten classroom, and I've had to pull her maybe twice all year. I've gone to other people before we pulled her for a sub. In addition, we have 1.5 Title I teachers who push into the classroom during specific literacy and math blocks, to try to reduce those student to teacher ratios. There are still 22 bodies in the classroom.
I mean, there's more
But
kids
there's-
than,
you
we
know.
only have 20 people in here, there's 22 kids in this classroom. It's like, if I was in a class, I'd just be distracted. It's just not, it's not suitable, even if there is 5 teachers in there, it's still, kids are kindergartners, they're just, they're gonna be distracted really easily and these are really crucial years for them, and it would be nice to just be like, to be able to give them a test and see how the test went last year with the kids who had two separate classrooms and then see how this one went. Because it seems like people that I've talked to too, just their kids are a little more behind, I feel like, as like learning wise, for like math and reading and all this. So they say that it's fine though, like where they are, but it's a little concerning.
Mary, you had your hand up, I think, earlier. It was a little while ago.
No,
maybe.
I
Did you
just
have
wanted
it?
to make sure that you did it already, it's
Okay.
explaining the process, like this is the way, this is where you should be doing this, so now the decisions are not final at all right now. I just want to make sure we spoke to that at that point, that's all. And you did, that's good.
I've been keeping my mouth shut over here. I got too many kindergarten things I need to say, but,
You know what, can I jump in real quick before you
Yeah.
do that? Just so everybody is aware who may not know, Bart and Andy,
Frank.
Mary, Frank, and Gregory are on the board as well. And Bart's a fellow Harpswell, as is Frank and Gregory, we're the 4 Harpswell representatives, just so you know whose perspective you're hearing from. Yeah, that's a good thing, not a bad.
well, who knows? But, yeah, Bart Beatty, Coors Island.
Yeah.
On the school board.
It's
I have a granddaughter who's actually in this class as well, with Mrs. Pomerleau, and my youngest daughter, had Mrs. Pomerleau. I don't know, however long ago that was, 15 years ago, or 13 years ago or something. She's now a freshman at Worcester Polytech. Mrs. Pomerleau's pretty awesome. And I'm sure she's become awesomer as time has gone on. I clearly didn't have a good teacher since I just said awesomer. But, way back when, we were talking back in the day, the good old days when we walked both ways uphill to school.
5 feet of snow.
One of my daughters, I have 4 of them, the next oldest who's 22 now, went to West Hartsville School. And she had 6 kids in her kindergarten class, herself included. They were all girls. They were known as the Super Six, and were the founding class of their ed tech, Sandy St. George, wrote the Harpswell song that we all sing all the time now. And they recorded it on a CD. You could get it at the Veg Corner at the time. They had their own CD with all kinds of songs and stuff. I'm just telling stories.
I was gonna say story time with Bart.
Story time with Bart, but yeah, so I mean, it was such a really cool experience for her to have those 6 kids. It was drastically under the ratios, right? And we were super lucky to have that happen. Granted, that school closed 3 years later and everybody moved over here, but it is a lot of kids. I do know there are some ed techs that are involved there. One full-time, as you were saying, I think there's some kids that have some one-on-ones, but it is a lot in the classroom. I'm not on the finance committee, but I certainly appreciate everybody's advocacy, for the advocacy here in my daughter. And very good to the school, and it's being, getting the opportunity that we should get. And sometimes because of the population of Harpswell and this school, it gets weird, right? And we're either way below the numbers or we're just over the numbers, and it's a tough decision. It's a tough thing to kind of balance, to try to figure out. Because also here in the town of Harpswell, people don't like to see their extremely low taxes go up. Myself included. And we've got the lowest mill rate in the state almost. And I live on the water and I pay less taxes than I did when I lived in Thompson almost 20 years ago. So we've got to kind of balance it all out, but it is a reality that it's hard, to manage class sizes in this town. To do it that's in a way that's fiscally prudent, but also educationally prudent. But I appreciate all of the advocacy that everybody had.
Looking at the table, it looks like Harpswell has a history of doing blended classes in the past, possibly to adjust that. And, my kids are going Central and they've done that. My daughter's in 2nd grade. Last year, there were like 8 in your class. It's a little weird at times, like 3 kids were absent, but you know, they addressed that with a willing teacher who was willing to take on a brand new student. And they had two, I think 2 grades in a row that were both really small, for whatever reason. But I was wondering if that is something that's on the table, like especially, you know, Bowdoin sees it to some extent, but Harpswell with.
It's always
like
on the table.
Year-to-year fluctuations.
always on the table.
like- Whereas my other daughter's in 5th grade and there's like over 20 kids in both classes.
Mhm.
And maybe that's more, I mean, under the principals to try to get a teacher on board.
Yeah, well, what we've done in the past with our multi-age classes is to, so what the practical teachers have chosen to do is, instead of having, for instance, 1 straight first, 1 straight second, and 1 multi-age, we would have 3 multi-age classrooms so that those teachers could work together. You know, depending on, we've looked at that and we've considered that because of, the, you know, the grade level expectations, it makes it tricky. More tricky at some grades than others. And next year will be most likely piloting some new versions, which make it even more tricky than really on the table.
All right. Any more questions? Thank you all for coming. Thanks for sharing your thoughts and experiences and things. It's very important for us to hear from you as we go through this process and figure out the best thing we can do. So really appreciate it. Have a great night.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you all.
for gathering all that info.
Yes.